Hello. Hello, YouTube subscribers. That was a weak start. We are again broadcasting from the Make the Waffle Studios in Longmont / Boulder, Colorado. I had made the comment last video that I was going to talk to you a little bit about this Crazy Go Nuts League that I got me and a friend in. And I'll try to touch base on some other ones too. I will tell you the last league I joined, I named that team Sleepaholics Anonymous, Sleeperaholics Anonymous, because I think I have a sleeper problem. I've just been, I don't know, just kind of toying with these leagues and stuff, and I don't know, for anything, it makes some YouTube content. And for those that are kind of wondering, I really am just putting this together for friends and family. I happen to notice that the last video I made had like 34 views. I don't know of 34 people who I've told about this YouTube channel. So thank you for that. But really just creating something here maybe for posterity. And I don't know, at some point if somebody I know wants to know how I'm kind of going through my processes, and if they want to do some fantasy sports, then they've got some resources to look at that I honestly think take an approach that's not ESPN or fantasy sports radio. If you got Sirius XM, you know what I'm talking about. I just feel like I'm approaching it from kind of the everyman commoner standpoint. So anyway, not to belabor the point, but this was the league I got into with a friend of mine, and I ended up with the Detroit Pistons. My friend ended up with the Miami Heat. I was actually considering getting in this, and then he texted me, and I said, "Hey, do you need someone in your basketball league?" And I said, "Well, as it happens, there's this league with some openings, and I'm about to jump in it if you want to jump with me." So let's take a look at mine first. Here is the Detroit Pistons. And so what I did was, the way it kind of works is you jump into the league. I mentioned on the last video I was a millisecond from getting Oklahoma City. Someone grabbed him before I did. So then I took my time a little bit and thought, okay, do I want a team that's good, Oklahoma City, or do I want one that's maybe young and building? And that led me to Detroit. So if you followed me in my last video, Cade Cunningham, I'm looking forward to big things from him. So, of course, he got to be on my team. And what happens is once you pick your team, you go in, you pick 6 players that you want to protect in this league. Not all leagues run this way. So I picked 6 players. Cunningham was definitely one of them. Thompson was one of them. Holland was the last one I kept. I almost kept LeVert. And I decided to keep Holland just because he's younger. And this friend of mine said, hey, man, you want to keep him. He was... he's a good one. So I kept Tobias Harris. He's a little old. And I kept Duran, who's just an obvious choice. And then I'm trying to think. It might have been Stewart, who I picked next. It might have been Duncan Robinson. It was one of these two probably. But luckily for me, they ended up picking... no, it was Ivy. I remember now. It was Ivy. Who I kept. And even though he's always hurt, I figured, if he ever comes back and he's healthy, that might be the ticket. And then these folks then took LeVert. So what happens is after every team has picked 6 to protect, there's 2 guys out there who then get to go and do a little snake draft of their own with 2 people. And they get to pick 1 player from each team until they have filled their rosters. So if one of them picked LeVert from the Pistons, then the other one doesn't get to pick any Pistons. So that's the way they built their team. So after 6 players have been protected for every team, both expansion teams have gone in and picked their full roster. Then I got to go in and pick the rest of the Pistons. And so I got Duncan Robinson, Isaiah Stewart, who, by the way, lit it up the first night. Sasser, who I've been kind of watching for a while because he's on my other Dynasty team, and I've had him for a while. I drafted him with a 3rd round pick. And then some of these guys who I don't even know. Lanier, by the way, is their rookie pick for this year. I think they got him in the late first, early second. I can't remember, but I just got to pick him up. You can see from free agency because the expansion teams did not pick them. So I got them. Then you'll notice we ran a waiver wire, and I grabbed. All I did was. I went through my rookie rankings, which I'll be honest, I borrow from some Google search and stuff. And then I will tweak some. I always think you should Google whatever rankings you want to Google, but always, you just use that as a baseline. You can always move people up or down based on what you think. I also think it's better to use something outside of the platform that is hosting your league. I don't want to necessarily just use Sleeper rankings, ADP or projections to figure out maybe who I want to go after, because that puts me kind of in a soup with everybody else who's on Sleeper. Because I'll be honest, I would guess the majority of people, that's what they do. They just go rank the players in Sleeper and see what Sleeper says. If you just get another tab and go to a Google search and find a different set of rankings from wherever, that at least gets you a little bit out of the box as far as the thought processes that your league is using. So I went in on my waivers after everybody had picked over who they wanted, and I only went rookies. Because again, the way I see it, I'm keeping my Pistons, and we'll talk a little bit about some deals that I turned down. But if I just keep my Pistons, I don't really need to supplement with other active players. I really don't. Because if something happens to my core, I've already got the handcuffs to fill into those spots. So I just simply went through my rookie rankings, and then I put together a waiver list. I had 9 waiver claims out there. One of them I bid 150 some points on, and I didn't get them because my friend bid over 200, which was fine. It's all well and good. So the people I did get, I got James here. He's a rookie in Charlotte. I got Martin. He's a rookie in Toronto. And I felt like there was at least one other one here. Oh, Tui. I got this. He's out right now, but I got him. He's a rookie at Golden State. And by the way, you'll notice there's 2 taxi spots here. Those did not show up until after the start of the first game of the season, which meant that the deadline had already passed. So we now have 2 taxi spots, but we can't use them until next year, which I thought was a little bit of poor planning. But we were rushing at the end of the preseason and stuff, so whatever. So I've got these 3 rookies, and what I plan on doing is just hanging on to those guys. I will tell you that if somebody, so for example, Tui plays for Golden State. If the guy who had Golden State, or if there's somebody out there who likes Tui because of what college he went to or whatever, and they come in and offer me a trade, I will generally trade them. I'll take the pick, because the pick never gets injured. The pick never bombs, if you will. Now, if Tui ends up going out and just being awesome, then maybe later I kick myself. But these were guys that nobody picked up. The Golden State guy could have picked up Tui, and he didn't. So nobody's really in demand for these guys. So if I can come in and get a 3rd round pick, or what I really prefer on these guys is get a 2nd and send back a 3rd, is what I usually try to do, then I'll do it. But for the most part, I have stayed out of the trade market. And I think there's a reason for that, again, in a 32-team league. I don't know what all the trading is proving, I guess, if you will. So if you'll notice right here, all my draft picks, I still have them. We have 3 draft picks per year, and I still have all 3 of my draft picks. I have not made any trades to acquire any more. If I did, they would show up here with the former owner's team name down here. So here's my Pistons, and this is kind of my core roster, if you will. So as we go look, okay, I was trying to get the team to pull up here, but apparently on the NBA fantasy leagues in Sleeper, if you pull them up on your PC, you you cannot pull up the team page or several of the other pages. So whatever, we'll just go with what we've got here. It's fine. I was going to set up something where I can show my phone, but the focus is a little off, and frankly, I'm just a grandpa, and I don't know how to fix all that sometimes. But I will give you a little update here. Was kind of what I was wanting to get to, and that is, as of right now, I have one transaction out. You'll see this little red thing here, this transaction. It's waiting until waivers run tonight, and who I'm trying to get, I can just tell you now, I'm trying to get this guy. He's another rookie, and he was cut in the first run of waivers, and I'm shocked. I just can't believe that that's someone would cut. And I do think he's probably worth a second, third round pick exchange or a third round pick outright or something like that. So probably going to try to pick up this guy small. But just so you guys know, back to the update. Last night, the Detroit Pistons played, and one of the things I've noticed is if you're, and I think maybe that's why people are trading so much, is because they don't want to necessarily to just be focused in on kind of one game. They like to watch a player over here and a player in the late game and a player in the early game and this, that sort of thing. It was interesting to watch the Pistons in that I had a pretty good, solid idea of how my evening was going to shake out. And I'll just be honest, it was not bad. The Pistons lost. They lost to the Bulls 115-111. But as you all know, in fantasy, the real result isn't necessarily what matters. So I'll just give you a little rundown here. First of all, notice I did eventually end up putting padlocks under the nicknames of all my Detroit Pistons here, because I'm telling the rest of the league I don't plan on trading those guys. And if you're going to get them from me, you're probably going to have to overpay. Now, that's not always true. Sometimes someone will come in with a deal that I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But for the most part, I've told the league I'm not trading these guys. But I did leave open this guy for Toronto, Martin. I did leave Tui open. There was one rookie, actually, that I picked up. This Watkins guy from Washington, I kind of want to hang on to him. And notice he's only 6% owned, so it's not like he's in demand. But I kind of want to see this Watkins guy. He's got cool hair. Look at that. But anyway, last night, Cunningham scored 29 points. He's not projected to score any better than that. Now, it's not updated here. I don't think that updates until the end of the week. Which is Sunday, but I can tell you now I locked that in. He's not projected to score 29 the rest of this week. So I locked in 29 from him. Thompson scored 24.5, and again, he's not projected to beat that. Holland scored 21, which was double his projection. So I locked in that. Harris scored 20, and again, that was above any projection he's got coming up. So I locked in that. Duran only scored 17, and he is projected to do better than that in 2 more games this week, so I did not lock that one in. So these locks here are different locks than the locks I'm talking about. If you watch a previous video, once a game is played, you can decide whether or not to lock in that player's points for that night. So I locked in these first ones. It was almost automatic. Duran, it was almost an automatic no, because he is actually supposed to do a little better, so I'm going to save him for one of these 2 games coming up this next week. Robinson literally scored 0, and so I did not lock him in. But Isaiah Stewart, who was projected to do something around 9 or 10 points, he scored 32. So I have him locked in with those 32. Sasser is just now in my lineup. He was on IR, and so he didn't even play. But the guy who was in there, I believe he was the guy from Charlotte, this Sion James character. And he might be another one that I end up keeping, actually. In fact, yeah, I put the lock on him. James, he actually scored 9 points, which was kind of cool. Or, I'll backtrack that. I think he scored 9 points on my bench. He was not in my lineup. But that's interesting to me that a rookie scored 9. The one that was in my lineup was Paul Reed, and he only scored 3 points. So I moved Paul Reed out of my lineup, and I put Sasser in for the next game since he's off of IR. So as of this minute, I'm looking, I am an 89% favorite to win my matchup this week. And having long suffered with my Dynasty rebuild that I got into 3 years ago, to just come in and win week 1 would be awesome. I would love for that to be the case. So anyway, that was the league I got my friend into. I won't go into his team. I don't know if he wants people to know what he's doing over there. But we did kind of agree it's better maybe to keep your core players rather than trading it with everybody. And then see how things look. Read the land a little bit. Read the landscape before you start making those big moves. The other league that I ended up in, I ended up with the Celtics, and they were my first pick, so I don't really have much to complain about. Believe it or not, I think they underperformed last night. So, yeah, I've locked in 40 points so far. The points that I have locked in were Derek White, one of my favorite players who I've talked about extensively, and Keita, who only scored 14.5, but the center position in Boston is going to be weird. And there's nobody projected to really do a whole lot better than that. I think Keita might be projected for like 17, but I do feel like he could score 0. I just really feel like that's going to be in flux. So I'll take whatever points I can get from the center position. And then the rest of these guys, I did not even lock in their points. They all came in under their projection. They were playing against, I don't remember who they were playing against last night, but they just didn't pop. And I do feel like when you're locking in these points, you kind of have an immediate reaction to them. You look at a total and you're like, oh yeah, that's locking that in. And then you look at it and you're like, if you have even a maybe not, then it's probably a not, is the way I go. Hauser was a little disappointing last night, by the way. He did not do well, and I was expecting kind of good things from him. So notice I've got all these Celtics in my starting lineup. Notice I've got all these padlocks and their nicknames. Again, I've gone on the record and told the league I'm not going to trade them. I have had at least 3 different offers for White, probably 3 different offers for Brown. I've had people trying to get Butcher from me. I've had at least a couple offers on Simons, and that's about it. Notice, by the way, when we did the waivers, I ended up with 3 of these guys. Markovic, who it literally said on my notes is a 2-year stash. Like, that dude is not playing for a long time. So, but we were pretty far down the list by then. So I got Markovic, I got this Sanders guy, and I did put a note on here. I'll trade him. He's on my trade block if people want to send me an offer. And same thing again with Tui here. And I actually feel like we may have come to a deal on Tui in one of my leagues for sure. So he's just someone I just ended up picking up, and so I was willing to trade him away if people were interested in him. Notice here, this is one league where, based upon my waiver actions, I was able to reach out to some people and say, hey, if you want this guy, you can have him. In fact, one of them was McNeely, who was a guy I really wanted, but he plays for Charlotte, and I had a feeling the guy from the Charlotte franchise maybe overlooked him, and I was right. So I did make a deal with that guy. I actually ended up trading up I gave him a 3rd for this 2nd round pick in 2027, and I gave him a 3rd for this 2nd round pick in 2028. And I think I even got my fab money back as well. So I ended up with basically some free picks here is what happened. I ended up getting a free 2nd round pick here and a free 2nd round pick here. I think the last trade I did, the guy offered me a 2028 3rd, and I accepted it. We had negotiated some, but in the end, what happens is sometimes you don't end up with room on your on your roster, you're going to have to cut somebody at some point, and it's better almost always to just get something for them instead. So I'm actually a little bit excited here with getting some extra draft picks, because I can tell you now in the 2026, I've got 2 second-round picks here. I can definitely see using those 2 second-round picks to jump up ahead a little bit and maybe get who I want. I'm also very interested, especially in this league where I anticipate it's going to take some time, taking like 2 second-round picks and trading into a future year, if you will. So maybe you get take these 2 second-round picks, and maybe you get like a 2 second round here and a second round here. So 3 for 2, something like that. Unlikely, I think, that you're going to use these picks to get up into the first round, unless they end up being kind of high, and you can maybe use them to jump into the bottom of that first round. But, the first round's 32 picks long. I mean, most 12-team leagues, you're in the third round by then, and here you're at the end of the first. So, like I said, this league's kind of intriguing to me just because I'm going to have some options. And I guess that would lead me to kind of my last point for today. There's an extreme value in just managing your team. So if I take these Celtics, and if the Celtics are just dog water this year, if they're terrible, that's okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep managing my team, keep putting in my lineups, keep making good decisions as far as what points I lock in and what ones I don't, to the best of my ability. I'm sure I'll mess up a few of them, but I'm going to just keep working at it, and I won't tank. It's against my nature to just lose on purpose. I can't do it. And maybe it'd be my best interest to do so, because here's this first round pick right here that if I really, really wanted to play it horribly, I could have the first overall pick. I don't want to do that. I'll take whatever pick I get in trying to do my best. So the value, I think, in just managing your team, the value, I think, in just taking it not necessarily seriously, but at least putting thought into what you do. Making your spreadsheets. I've got a spreadsheet here, and it says Celtics, and that is that team's spreadsheet. And I'm going to keep track of how many starts each player has, how many times they sit on the bench, how many times they're on IR, taxi stuff like that. I'm going to keep track of all that, because then when it comes time to make some decisions about what I need to do with a player, I'll have some data to kind of fall back on. I can tell you Oklahoma Outlaws here, I ended up cutting today Ryan Dunn, because I picked up another center, the one for Barlow for the 76ers. And, look, I mean, he's had 21 starts, but look how low I have him ranked right now. I've had it ranked based on roster percentage. And if he's on 15% of rosters, he doesn't have to be on mine. So I, for what it's worth, I sent out a trade trying to get the guy who has whoever's in front of Dunn, and I can't remember who it is. Did he want him? And he ignored me or is too busy or whatever. So finally I just withdrew the trade and just cut him. So I can tell you now the next player on this spreadsheet is Hardaway. That's the next one's going to be cut. I really want to see him play tonight and see what role he has in Denver. If it's nothing, then I can just finally cut him. But notice he's had a lot of regular season starts, but he's mostly sat on the bench in the time that he's been on this team. So I don't know that he's worth keeping. But keep your spreadsheets. Give some thought to what you're doing. Don't just randomly cut someone just because. And I think that's probably a good way to be, in fantasy sports and maybe even just in life. So I'll put another video or two together maybe for some other leagues that I got into and just kind of tell you my processes on them. You guys stay safe out there.